All right, baseball fans, time for a little Sunday night baseball, and this is our Deadball Super League, and we are in day three of this replay, and again, we're playing the feature game of the day. And as I go on through this, I will not play a game every single week of the season. We'll sim a few days and pick up key matchups here and there, but this one I really wanted to get on the channel. It's the debut of the season for Addie Joss and the 1908 Cleveland Naps going against the 1912 Boston Red Sox. And opposing Joss on the hill for the Red Sox will be Bedient. And Bedient was a outdueled Matty, pitched a three-hit shutout against Matty in this World Series. So he was a big part of the Red Sox victory in this particular World Series. So we're going to go ahead and get straight to the lineups for Cleveland. It's going to be Josh Clark in left, Bill Bradley in right, Nap Lajoie, one of the premier hitters of the dead ball era, and the third slot at second base. George Stovall at first, Charlie Hickman in right, George Perring at short, Joe Birmingham in center, Harry Bemis catching, and of course Joss on the hill. And for the 1912 Red Sox, and again, this was a very solid offensive lineup, pretty much from top to bottom, especially by dead ball standards. So it'll be Harry Hooper, Hall of Famer, leading off in right. Steve Yerkes at second, batting second. Tris Speaker, another Hall of Famer, of course, in center. And Duffy Lewis, who had the sloping hill in left field named after him. And he bats cleanup. Larry Gardner at third will bat fifth. Jake Stahl sixth. Heine Wagner, the shortstop, in the seventh spot. And Les Nunemaker behind the plate. And, of course, Bedient on the hill. So this should be an excellent pitching matchup, and we'll see if Joss can contain the potent Red Sox lineup. And Joss also, for his time, was a very tall pitcher. You see here checking in at 6'3", 185 pounds. So he was quite slender for his height, and he was nicknamed the human pinwheel, or hairpin, I'm sorry, human hairpin, for his lanky stature. And looking at the lineups, definitely the edge, really in just about every spot. Speaker and Lajoie very even there on the third spot, but the edge overall going to the Red Sox. So expecting a close game, and this is Fenway Park, circa the teens, and we are ready to go as Bedient set to face Josh Clark to get this underway. Here comes the pitch. And Clark, that's going to be a high pop fly behind second base that Yerkes puts away, one down. Bedient toes at the rubber as Bill Bradley steps in. Bradley, in this young season, has yet to collect his first hit, and that's a line drive into center field. And just as I say that, a single. Tris Speaker coming in to swoop that up and holds him to a single. Bradley took a big turn at first base. He's going to have to go back. And that brings up the always dangerous Nap Lajoie. Bedient has a sign. Here comes a pitch. And that is driven into center field. That's going to be a double over Speaker's head. And Bradley coming up to third base. He's going to take the turn and getting in easily ahead of the throw from Speaker. And right away, the Indians, or Naps, I should say, off to a 1-0 lead. And runner in scoring position, still only one out as George Stovall steps in, the veteran. And that's going to be an infield single, potential error on Yerkes. And Yerkes, error rating of 44, decent but not great. He's able to corral the ball, though, before it gets into the outfield. So runners at the corner, still only one down. Bedient in some first inning trouble and a potential rare play. And one, that is going to be a foul. And going out of play, unable to get to that, is the catcher. So valiant try by Nunemaker, but reset and still one out. Runners on the corners. Pitch to Hickman, and that is going to be driven into the outfield, and down in the corner, rattles around a double, and Lajoie scores. Stovall holding at third base, doesn't even try it, so it's 2-0. And the sixth man to hit, George Perring. Here comes the pitch, and that is going to be a single to third, and that's going to drive in 2 runs. Perring apparently is going to come up lame. He will miss the next 4 games of this replay. So the Naps all over Bedient early in this one, a 4-0 lead, and he is in big trouble. Still only 1 down, and that's going to be swing and a miss, strike 3. So Birmingham is fanned, and Harry Bemis, the 8th batter in this inning. Bedient will like to get out here, and Speaker, who plays a very shallow center field, able to get to that easily, and that retires the side, but it is 4-0, and with Addie Joss on the hill, that should be sufficient. Of course, the Red Sox, a very powerful offensive lineup, and that's going to be a high pop fly, and Perring ventures into the outfield to pull that in, 1 down. Steve Yerkes, the batter. Yerkes hitting .286 in this, again, very young season. Here comes a pitch, and Yerkes gets a hold of that, and that's driven down into the right field corner. Stand-up double, and that brings up Chris Speaker. So the Red Sox fighting right back here in the bottom of the first, and this is going to be a potential walk. And Dice is higher. Joss, a very good control pitcher, but unable to retire Speaker here. And actually, they might be a good thing. Duffy Lewis. And you see Lewis played in all 154 games in 1912, hit .284, so very solid hitter. And mastered that left field hill, and that's going to be a line drive, and right at Lajoie, who snares that. So Joss now on the verge of getting out of what could have been a very stickly inning, and comes through. Called strike 3 on Gardner, and that's going to retire the side. So the Sox strand 2 as we head to the top of the second. It's going to be Joss, and then top of the order, Clark and Bradley. Bedient looking to get past that rough first, and that's a high fly ball into left field. Duffy Lewis going back and easily pulls that in for the first out. Clark steps in. He popped up his first time up, and that was right before the floodgates opened for the Naps. It's going to be a ground ball down to first base, and Stahl picks that up, takes it unassisted to the bag. 2 away as Bedient back in his groove here. Bill Bradley, the batter. It's hit on the ground to Larry Gardner, and he tries to beat out a bunt. Gardner charging hard. Is he going to be able to nip him at first base? And he gets him. So 3 down as Bedient a 1-2-3 inning. Bottom of the second inning, Joss set to face Stahl, Heine, Wagner, and Nunemaker. Here comes a pitch, and that's going to be a strikeout. Stahl in front of a fluttering shine ball, 1 down. It's going to be a ground ball down to second base. Lajoie scoops that up, the short throw to Stovall, and 2 quick outs here in the bottom of the second as Les Nunemaker steps in. Red Sox catcher drives that into the outfield, a looping drive. Birmingham, is he going to get there? Running hard and gets there just in time, a waist-high grab, and that retires the Sox in the second inning. As we head to the top of the third, Naps up 4-0 here at Fenway Park, and Bedient back on the hill to face Lajoie, Stovall, and Hickman. And Lajoie grounds that down to Larry Gardner. Gardner comes in, a strong throw, gets Lajoie by a step, 1 down. Stovall the batter now, and that's going to be swing and a miss, and way out in front of that pitch, taking a little bit off that is Bedient. So 2 outs, and that is now 6 set down in a row after a very ugly first inning. Bedient the pitch to Hickman, and this is deep, and could this be, it will not be a home run, but it is definitely going to be a single, and still a chance to get out of here. I should have held my words. And that will be indeed a single as it is off the wall, but hit so hard, Hickman, no chance to turn that into a double. So Obedient, his string of retired batters is broken, set to face Pairing now. And Pairing, his first time up, singled. Here comes a pitch. Ground ball down to Wagner at short. And it's going to be a close play at first base. Can he get him? And umpire says yes, gunned down by half a step. So Obedient out of the third as we head to the bottom of the frame. Naps up 4-0 over the Sox. And the Speed Boys, as they were called, due to their aggressive and fast play on the base paths. Obedient, the pitcher, leads it off against Joss. And here comes a pitch. Ball to shortstop. And Pairing. It's going to be a close play at first base. And hustling down the line, Obedient beats it out. So the Sox have a leadoff runner here in the bottom of the third. Top of the order, Harry Hooper. Here comes a pitch. Fly ball into right field. And Hickman. Plenty of room to make that routine grab. Obedient back to first. And that is the first out of the inning as Steve Yerkes steps in. Yerkes doubled his first time up. And here comes a pitch. Fly ball into center field. Birmingham going back, drifting two-hand and puts it away. So 2 outs for Joss as Tris Speaker, and we'll see if he pitches carefully to Speaker. Here we go. And that's going to be a line drive single and a possible error on Clark. And Clark, a slightly above average fielder. But he's able to get that back in cleanly. He'll Obedient at second base. So 2 down, 2 on. And Duffy Lewis, can he come through? Ground ball down to first. And Stovall is going to scoop that up. Underhand to Joss. Side is retired. So Joss flirting with disaster here. But so far the Red Sox have been unable to crack him. Top of the fourth, it is going to be Birmingham, Bemis, and the pitcher spot. Obedient, and that's going to be a walk, leadoff walk to Birmingham. And they are checking to maybe see if Obedient is still fresh. Nonemaker talking to him. He's going to stay in the game. As Birmingham gets a lead, he is going to try and steal. Not very favorable here, and he is gunned down. Nonemaker comes up throwing. So the walk is erased, and Bemis steps back in. Pitch, and Bemis drives that into the corner, and he's going to have a double ahead of the throw. So the Naps are hitting Obedient hard throughout the game. And again, a runner in scoring position, and he's going to go for third. Here comes the pitch, and not a very good hold rating, but coming up firing is Nonemaker, and Bemis slipped, had to go back to second base. He's going to hold there. And Gardner dropped the throw. They could have caught him off second. They did not. That's going to be a ground ball down to third base by Joss. And charging in to get that, that's going to get a runner to third as Gardner had to come in. It's 2 down, runner 90 feet away. As Clark's going to look to give Joss some insurance here. Here comes a pitch. Deep fly to center field. Speaker, though, racing back and going to make the play for the third out. And a check on pitching grades for Obedient. He's going to retain his A grades. B grades down here affect all roles, and you do not want to go there, especially if you are not a great pitcher. So bottom of the fourth inning. For the Red Sox, it will be Gardner, Stahl, and Heine Wagner. Gardner struck out his first time up. The pitch, and that's going to be driven down into the right field corner, and getting away, slipping out there is Hickman, and all the way to third ahead of the throw is Gardner. So a leadoff triple, and the Sox in great shape here as Jake Stahl steps in. Stahl struck out his first time up. Joss with a pitch. And it's a ground ball down to Pairing, and it's going to go to first base and concede the run. So the Sox on the board on that 6-3 put out. It is 4-1 now. Base is clear for Wagner. The pitch, and Wagner drives a single into center field in front of Birmingham. So the Sox starting to get to Joss a little bit. That is their 5th hit. Wagner with the lead. And Wagner goes. Bemis comes up throwing, and need to hold my commentary on that. Wagner's going to hold. So again, a bluff. Wagner on first, Nonemaker. That's going to be a ground ball down to short, and infield halfway in for some reason. All they get is a fielder's choice. Look like a tailor-made double play as Nonemaker's going to try and steal. And Nunemaker, Joss keeping him close. He's going to hold. So Obedient, he is going to hit away, and Obedient a single into center field, rounding the bag, going to third is Nunemaker. So sixth hit for the Red Sox, and they are in business here. Harry Hooper can cut the lead in half with a base hit. And we're going to have the ballpark come into play, and unfortunately for Hooper, that is going to be a ground ball in front of the plate. Catcher to first side is retired as we head to the top of the fifth. Halfway point, Knapp's holding a 4-1 lead over the Speed Boys, and for Obedient, he'll be facing Bradley, Lajoie, and Stovall. Bradley steps in and pops it up into foul territory. Gardner ranging over, makes a play, 1 down. Lajoie has grounded out and doubled, has an RBI as well, and it's going to be hit on the ground to first. Stahl scoops that up, pitches to Obedient, and 1 down as Lajoie is retired easily. Stovall, the batter, he struck out and singled. The pitch by Obedient, and it's going to be a line drive into right field, right at Harry Hooper, who gloves it to end the frame as we head to the bottom of the fifth. 4-1, but the momentum seems to be turning towards the Red Sox here. Let's see if Joss can recover from a shaky fourth inning. And not a good start as Yerkes yanks that into the gap, and that's going to be a leadoff double. And again, the dangerous Tris Speaker up, and Speaker in 1912 hit a very robust 383. And again, amongst the best hitters of his day. It's going to be a line drive into left field, and Clark doesn't have to move to take that, so a hard out by Speaker. And a sigh of relief by Joss, and we have a potential rare play here, and 2, and that is not going to be, it's going to be a dribbler to the mound. Let's see if Joss can get Yerkes in time. He's got to charge that, and not able to do it. We have an infield single, so 1 down, runners at the corners. And Larry Gardner, the batter. Gardner has struck out and tripled. Joss needs to dig deep here. And that's going to be a double into center field. So that's going to get in another run. And Lewis taking a big turn at third. He's coming home, but a great throw by Birmingham, and he is nailed at the plate. So 2 down, and that could be decisive as trailing runner Gardner is going to go to third. So nothing but green there, only 1 red spot, but Birmingham made the play and a huge out. So 2 down, runner on third base, and Jake Stahl, the batter. Stahl grounded out and struck out. Comes the pitch, and that's going to be a single up the middle, and that indeed turns out to be a big play by Birmingham, as we would be tied otherwise right now, as Stahl is going to try and steal. And here comes a pitch, and coming up throwing is Bemis, guns him down at second base. So Side is retired unconventionally. A great throw from the outfield to nail 1 at the plate, and then a caught stealing, but it looks like Joss is definitely struggling now as we head to the top of the 6th. And Obedient has been fairly solid since a rough first inning, as Speaker's under that one to put it away, 1 down. George Perring, the batter, and he has singled, a couple of RBIs, and a ground ball to shortstop. Here comes a pitch. And Perring draws a base on ball, that one just a bit high. Down to first base he goes, and the batter will be center fielder Joe Birmingham. And 2 balls. So Birmingham has a favorable count, steps back in. We reset, and it's going to be a ballpark effect play. And good chance for a single as that is driven into left field, and that is going to get down. So Perring goes to second base and taking a turn. Is he going to go? He's trying to go. Lewis with a throw, and he is gunned down. So 2 good outfield plays in this game as Birmingham takes second on the throw. So 2 down and a runner in scoring position, and this would be a huge run if Bemis can deliver here. As all the momentum is with the Sox right now, and that's going to get it done. A long single into left field and scoring easily. So it is now 5-3. And Bemis is going to try and stretch this, and he is safe. So he turns that into a double as Lewis hits the cutoff man, and there is no play for the Sox. It is now 5-3. And Joss is up with 2 down. At worst, top of the order will lead off the next inning, but Joss draws a base on balls, and now Obedient starting to falter again, as that is the 9th hit of the day for the Naps. And a short fly ball into left field. Duffy Lewis comes in and catches that on the run, so side is retired. But the Naps add another. It is 5-3 as we head to the bottom of the frame, and Joss, who was struggling mighty, is not pitching well at all the last 3 innings. Has given up 10 hits now. It's going to be Wagner, Nunemaker, and Obedient. Here comes a pitch to Heine. And it's going to be a pop fly. Bradley 3 steps into the outfield, gloves that, first out of the inning. Up next is Les Nunemaker, and he has flown out and grounded out to short. Fielder's choice, and that's going to be hit down to the first baseman Stovall. And Stovall is going to take it himself to the bag. 2 quick outs. And Obedient, the batter. Obedient, let's see if they pull him. And they are. His day is done. So he's going to go 6 innings and be charged with 5 runs. And the pinch hitter is Bill Kerrigan. Kerrigan in 1912, a .263 hitter as a part-time player. Joss from the pitch, a windup. Here comes a pitch and a dribbler out in front of the plate, and gunning him down at first base is Bemis. Nice dig by Stovall, and side is retired as we head to the top of the 7th. For the Naps, it will be Bradley, Lajoie, and Stovall. And Bradley's going to draw a leadoff base on balls as the new pitcher, Larry Pappy, is in. Pappy checks Bradley at first base, and Bradley's going to go. Looks good, and that is going to be against the catcher's defensive rating. And stolen base. Gets in there ahead of the throw by Nunemaker. So Bradley, very efficient at stealing bases, resides at second, nobody out. Lajoie waits for the pitch and lays one down, and it looks like he's got a good chance to move the runner up. He does indeed, as Yerkes has to field that. Gardner going to third. So the Naps playing small ball to get that insurance run home. 1 down, runner on third, and George Stovall, the batter. Here comes a pitch from Pappy, and that's going to be a pop fly into shallow left field. Wagner circles under that, pulls it in, and our second out of the inning. So it's going to be up to Charlie Hickman, and Hickman is ripping Red Sox pitching today. He is 2 for 3, a double with an RBI, a single, and a hard line drive to center. Here comes a pitch, and struck him out. So Pappy gets out of the jam as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. It is 5-3. And no 7th inning fun fact for this one, as the Gervonta Davis fight is coming up, and I want to watch that. So we'll speed right through that as Harry Hooper steps in. And it's going to be a line drive to Clark in left field, and he two-hands that for the first out of the inning. As Joss seeming to tire a little bit. Let's see if he can hang on here. Here comes a pitch and a short fly into right field that Hickman has time to get under. So that's going to be 2 out, and the batter will be Tris Speaker. Speaker today has walked, singled, and hit a scorching line drive that Clark snagged in left. 1 for 2 on the day, and that's a line drive towards right field. That's going to get down in front of Hickman. So Speaker, his second hit of the day, and Joss has now scattered 11 hits. Hardly a very efficient pitching performance. As you can see his numbers here, 11 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 2 strikeouts, and a 1.8 whip in this game. Very un-Addie-like. Here comes a pitch and possible rare play. And that's going to be a foul ball, and Bemis ranging back. Can he get there? Unable to, as that falls harmlessly to the ground. So with renewed life, let's see if Duffy Lewis can take advantage. Joss delivers. And swing and a miss, strike 3, his third of the game. And Josh is going to get the batter's faced boost check, and he will indeed pass that, so he'll be able to face 8 more over the final innings. As we head to the top of the 8th, 5-3, Cleveland in the lead. It's going to be Perring, Birmingham, and Bemis up. Pitcher spot will be due up fourth as that's a fly ball into right field. Harry Hooper corrals that for the first out. Pape with the ball and stares down Birmingham, who is 0 for 2 today. He has walked, struck out, 1 for 2, and singled. Here comes a pitch, and that's going to be a second hit of the day for Birmingham. Falls in front of Hooper, and Birmingham's going to try and steal again. And here he comes, and Nunemaker up throwing, guns him down at second base, and he beat him by a full 2 feet there. As applying the tag is Wagner. And that's going to be a high fly ball into center field. Bemis, Speaker underneath it, and that's the inning. And we have a defensive substitution for Cleveland as Turner comes in at shortstop, and you can see a much better fielder than the previous occupant of that position pairing. So Joss has 8 batters to go, and he's going to try and get through these last 2 frames smoothly. Pitching to Gardner, and that's a ground ball down to Turner. The defensive replacement makes a nice play, whips it to Stovall for the first out. As Jake Stahl steps up, Stahl today has struck out, grounded out to short, which drove in a run, and singled, driving in a second run. Joss has a sign from Bemis. Here comes a pitch. And that's going to be a swing and a miss. Struck him out. Addie Joss with a curveball. Way out in front of that. And Heine Wagner now. Nobody on. 2 outs. Wagner today is 1 for 3 with a single. And here comes a pitch. And Joss again pulling the string and swung on in the dirt. 3rd out of the inning as we head to the top of the 9th. Cleveland clinging to a 5-3 lead over the Red Sox. Pape still on the hill for Boston. And Addie Joss, they're going to let him hit, and that's going to be a ground ball down to third. Gardner fields it. Long throw, and in plenty of time for the first out. That will bring up Josh Clark, and Clark today, he is 0 for 4. He's one of the few naps that has not had some degree of success at the plate. It's going to be a foul ball, and Gardner racing over near the stands, pulls that in for the second out. So Bill Bradley steps up, and Bradley, 1 hit and a walk today, and that's a ground ball, or a pop-up, to Wagner, who fields that. And for Cleveland now, Bill Hinchman comes in right field. And the best defensive outfielder out there right now for Cleveland. So Joss can face 5 batters, and he's got the bottom of the order, Nunemaker, the pitcher spot, and then Harry Hooper. Here comes the pitch to Nunemaker. And actually, Nunemaker is going to get pulled last minute for Marty Krug. And Krug, in 1912, in limited duty, only 39 at-bats, but he hit .308. Righty versus righty matchup, and expecting Krug, though, to have a better result. And he drives that into center field, and that is into the gap. Birmingham tries to cut it off, and Krug rounding first base. Here comes the throw to second. He is in, stretching it into a double. So a managerial move by Jake Stahl pays off as the Sox have a runner on second base, nobody out. And pitcher spot is up, and they're going to bring in a pinch hitter. And it will be Hick Cady hitting for Pape, and Cady, 259 in 1912 and 135 at-bats. Joss has a sign. He's going to lay down a bunt. As Cady lays it down, and Bradley's charging in on that, but he's going to get to it before he hits the ground. Shoe top snag of that pop-up, and back to second base goes Krug. So 1 down, and top of the order, Harry Hooper. Harry Hooper today is 0 for 4. Josh gets a sign, kicks and delivers, bounced off the plate, and Bemis charging out like a cat, guns him down with a nice throw to Stovall. So 1 out for Addie Joss. It's going to be Yerkes. He does not want to face Speaker with 2 runners on. Joss pitching carefully. Here we go. And that's going to be a ground ball down to Bradley. Bradley charging. Scoops, throws, and that is the ball game. A nice pick at first by Stovall. And the 1908 Cleveland Naps have defeated the 1912 Boston Red Sox. Not a pretty game for the pitchers as both gave up double figures in hits, but Josh is going to take that as it's a 5-3 victory. Looking at our box score, and Hickman, Birmingham, and Bemis all had 2 hits for the Naps. And over on the Red Sox ledger, top of the order was fine outside of Hooper. Yerk, Speaker, and Gardner all had a couple of hits. Stahl had 2 RBIs. And Paring, the seldom used shortstop, had 2 RBIs for the visiting Cleveland 9. Final line scores for our pitchers. Joss goes the distance, scatters 12 hits, gives up 3 runs, all earned. Walks 1, strikes out 5, and a 3.00 ERA out of this game. Much higher, in fact, almost, well, actually it is double what his actual ERA was that year. And Bedian, a tough day. He had a very rough first inning. Only gave up 1 run after that, but the damage was done as he only goes 6 and is going to be tagged with the loss. Addie Joss gets the MVP for the Naps. And we will go ahead and simulate the rest of today's games. So some other decent matchups here. Christy Mathewson making his first start for the 0-1 Giants. And for the Chicago White Sox, Eddie Seacott's going to get the start. First of all, though, we will autoplay Detroit and Washington. Summers against Hughes, and Detroit is going to win the rubber match in that series, 4-3. Ralph Works with his second save of the year. Summers the winner, and Musser the loser. Let's see if Seacott is on the level here as Chicago 0-1, game 2 of their series with Indianapolis. And it is indeed going to be a 4-2 White Sox win. Seacott with the win, Kaiserling with the loss. And again, lots of hits for both teams, but Seacott was economical. Getting out of jams as it's Chicago versus Chicago, Cubs and Wales. And the Federal League version of the Chicago baseball world has beaten the 06 Cubs for the second time. And again, the 06 Cubs, far and away the best record of any team in this. They're going to fall to 0-2 in this young season as Art Wilson hits a home run for the Whales. Winner Black, loser Lundgren. 1909 Pirates versus the 1915 Phillies. Leafield against Damari. And this is going to go to a convincing 10-0 Pittsburgh Pirate win. Leafield the winner. And home runs, Wagner, his second of the year already, and Dots Miller hit his first. As Leafield scatters 3 hits in the shutout. And finally, Mathewson against Shaney. And a very tight pitcher's duel, but Matty holds on to outduel him. Let's look at that box score real quick. So it looks like this one came down to the 9th. 1-0 going into the 9th, and the Giants got a very vital insurance run as Brooklyn came back to score 1 in their half. Mathewson not razor sharp, giving up 10 hits, but again scattering them over the course of the game to escape with a win. And our final game of the day, the 1914 Miracle Braves against the 1919 Reds. This will be Lefty Tyler against Slim Sally. And that is going to be a 6-5 Cincinnati win as Sally gets the victory and Strand in relief takes the loss. Dolph Luke with a save, and Jake Daubert must have had a great day at the plate, and he did, going 3 for 4. Runs scored, RBI, and a walk. 9 putouts in the field. So there you have it. Day 3 is in the books. And let's check out our standings real quick. All right, so in the American League, 3-way tie at first between Cleveland, Detroit, and Philly. Bringing up the rear is the 1912 Washington Senators. And again, this is kind of expected as Walter Johnson will usually get the win, but there's not a lot behind him. And going over to the National League, the 1915 Chicago Whales from the Federal League, the last team left that has not taken a loss. Conversely, their opponents in this opening series, the Cubbies, last team left without a win. So there you have it through day 3. And again, enjoying this game a lot. Flows very, very well. Extremely good PC port of a very good cards and dice game. So we will call this a stream. This is Anthony with Bleacher Bums Gaming. Hope you are enjoying this series. And again, I'll start spacing these out. It won't be every single day we're going to play through the series, but we'll definitely get in a lot of games. And I'm going to come back and play some more Dodgeball, that very fun release that Keith Avalon at Play Games put out over the Thanksgiving weekend. And again, not a traditional sport, but a good little time filler. And then we'll also have our other Deadball project going on, the 1908 post-Merkel replay chase to the pennant between the Chicago Cubs, New York Giants, and Pittsburgh Pirates. So we'll see y'all later. Hope you have a good night. I'm off to watch the Javante Davis fight. Hopefully that is a good one. And we'll see you later. Take care, everyone.